Good morning, everyone. How are you? Welcome to, what the heck? All right. Welcome to ParaMystic Podcast. I'm your host, Kristina Bloom, and I'm running solo today. So here we are. It's a beautiful snowy day here in Wisconsin. We've got quite a bit of snow, actually, more than a foot of snow, I'm sure. But it is gorgeous. And this is my favorite time of year, the snow. I'm not even talking about holidays. My favorite holiday was in October. So, but I just love this time of year. There's no mosquitoes, got fresh snow. It's beautiful. I'm loving it. It's gorgeous. And today I have been wanting to talk with you about listening to our bodies. Okay. Our bodies have amazing intuition. Today is just, I just decided that I'm watching and experiencing so many different things with my own body, with going through a shift in my body and other people as well. I mean, it's like I know two people who just in the last 24 hours have been in the hospital. One still is. There's a lot going on right now with our bodies trying to adjust to this new higher frequency that we've got going on this planet. So we have to be able to listen to our bodies. We have to be able to shift into, this is what I'm going through, and I'm going to find out what the heck is going on with this, because there's so much that is going on right now within us that we are just, I don't know, man, a lot of people struggling, a lot of people frustrated, um, uh, just with all of the changes that are going on, but it is affecting us physically overall. Not everyone is affected by it. Whatever the reasons are, I don't know. That is, I guess, between you and the universe. If you're, whether you're going through some changes, whether you're not going through some changes, there's just a lot to really think about. And I will be, I've got some notes here, so I'm just going to be glancing down occasionally, looking at my notes. But, our bodies are incredible information sensing machines. We pick up on vibes from other people. We pick up on, if when we don't feel safe, we pick up on when we do feel safe. We pick up on so many different things that our bodies are telling us. And, I've kind of broken it down into a few different categories. And one of those categories is metaphysical, paranormal. We all know about the goosebumps. We all know about the cold spots, the shivers, lightheadedness, nausea. Sometimes when we come in contact with paranormal, we run into those sorts of things. And if we're paying attention and our bodies are raising in frequency like they are, we become more sensitive to energies around us, more sensitive to what's going on in the world, and more sensitive about what's going on in the paranormal world, alternate universes, alternate timelines. It all gets very complicated. In my intuitive view course, I actually incorporate quantum physics into that course, because there's a whole lot more going on in the universe than most of us are paying attention to at any given time. So there's a lot of stuff that is just, if we pay attention to it, it can alert us to, oh, well, if I'm trying to speak with spirits and I'm not getting anything, maybe I need to listen to what my body's telling me. Because if I've got ringing in my ears, okay, why do I have ringing in my ears? What is the frequency that changed, and how do I tune into it? There's a lot that goes on with that. There is paying attention to, if you're cruising along and all of a sudden your energy's gone and there doesn't seem to be a really good reason for that. What is going on? What changed that my energy dropped? And it's really getting in the habit of asking your body, what are you responding to? Why is your energy dropping? Why am I feeling like all of a sudden I can't keep my eyes open? We're responding to some sort of energy around us, and our body is alerting us to that. Sometimes if you're what they call physical empath, if you're a physical empath and all of a sudden you have a pain you didn't have before, and it's like, boom, instant, you can go, okay, is someone around me that's in pain? Start checking stuff out. Try to figure out where it's coming from so that you can say, all right, got the message. Thank you. You can leave now. There's so many things that empaths also, I could do a whole show just on empathy and empaths and how to react. But one of the things is to remember that it's not your energy. If something comes on very sudden like that, and there's not something going on with your physical body, what's going on with the energy? What are you picking up on? Are you picking up on maybe a spirit who's showing you, how they left this world? Maybe you are picking up on someone in your area, someone around you physically that you're picking up on. Although you can be picking up on someone who you have a spiritual, emotional, energetic connection with, and they're in pain, and you're picking up on that. A lot of moms actually get that, mother's intuition kind of thing, where they just know something is wrong, especially with their adult kids, it seems, because when they're younger kids, they're typically around you more. But there's just so much that we can pay attention to within our bodies that gives us clues intuitively, gives us clues physically. So let's move on from the paranormal and spiritual and move into maybe the medical. Again, lots of people. I am seeing so many notices on Facebook, sorry, and other platforms where there's people are posting, this family member died, this dear friend passed away, here's an obituary. And I just feel like I'm seeing a lot more of that lately. Like we're going through just a lot of people leaving the planet right now, right? So we're all kind of going through something right now. We're all kind of going through experiencing a loss of some kind. And I know for me personally, and I've spoken about this before, is that I've recently had a chronic diagnosis, and it has just kind of stripped away the life I set up for myself. So there's grieving involved in that. There's grieving involved in paying attention to what's going on with you physically, and then realizing this is life altering, so there's that grieving process that goes on with that. So how does that feel in the body? What does grief feel like in the body? And it's not always the same for everybody. There are people who, when grief comes up, they busy themselves because that's how they're dealing with processing that information and processing a loss. And there's more grieving than just losing people. And there, like I said, just kind of losing my lifestyle and not losing it as much as altering it, I guess. So there's all of that that's going on as well. And I'm not the only one. I just wanted to say that because I'm talking to a lot of people who have been through the same thing, who are going through the same thing, where all of a sudden your body is changing. I have some theories about that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not medically trained. But my theory is that a lot of us are shifting from carbon base to crystal base in our physical DNA structure. And maybe medical science doesn't know what to do with that. I'm just tossing that out there to think about. And I've had this discussion with other people who are like, yeah, I totally agree. Or, yep, I've thought that myself. There's things going on in the universe that are beyond what we in our human brains are incapable of completely understanding. There's so much shifting, so much changing, so many differences now from what there was even a few months ago, sometimes even a few weeks ago. I never felt weak. I never felt altered at all by what they're telling me that I have, which I'm not claiming. I'm just saying I was diagnosed with it, and other people are telling me that. But the, in quotes, medication that they give for it is really what's altering my body the most, and it's really what is changing the way that I have to do a lot of things. And I know I am not even close to the only person in this situation. There is a lot of stuff that's changing. There is a lot of stuff going on within our own bodies. There's a lot of stuff. Hi, Al. Thanks for jumping in. I'm glad that you're here. Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry to hear that, Al. My heart goes out to you. He said he's had enough of that this year. His dad, his brother-in-law, aunt, and uncle all passed in the last 7 months, and he's had COVID for the last 10 days. So, if you could all just send some love to Al, that would be amazing. I'm sure he would appreciate that. A lot of stuff going on. A lot, a lot, a lot. And I know I keep saying a lot because it's a lot. There is so much going on, and our bodies are responding to it. If we need a break, our bodies are going to tell us, okay, sit down, be quiet for a while. Um, I referred to my current lifestyle as being grounded last night. And that's really kind of what it feels like, because anybody who has had any contact with me probably had contact with me well outside of my home area. So it's been a very different thing to be able to do this. And that's why I wanted to talk about listening to our bodies. Our bodies have amazing intuition when we listen to it. And grief will definitely weaken our immune systems. And there's been so much of it lately. So just please pay attention to your bodies. And when you need to take a break, take a break and do it without guilt or shame, because there is no shame there in taking care of yourself. There is no shame in putting yourself first, especially when you're running out of energy, when you're running out of steam. It's a well-documented fact that caregivers often pass on before the people they're taking care of. If they're taking care of someone who's chronically ill or terminally ill, not even sometimes, it's often that caregivers will pass on before the person that they're taking care of, because caregivers don't take care of themselves. And if you're finding yourself in that situation, I hope that you can find a way to take care of yourself. It's for you, and it's also for the people who are depending on you. Let's see, what else have we got here? Wow. I talked about empathy a little bit, but feeling empathy for other people. Some people, empathy and sympathy are two different things. Empathy is when you actually feel what the other person is feeling, whether that's emotional or physical. And sympathy is when you just feel sad or bad for someone for what they're going through. So if you were truly an empath and you literally feel what other people are feeling, please remember that not all of that is yours. Pull your energy back sometimes. Disconnect so that you can feel your own energy and release what doesn't belong to you. Your body is begging you to do that, I promise. Because if you don't do that and you're holding on to what other people have been feeling, and I'm not even talking about people who intentionally do things like that to send negative energy. I'm just talking about being an empath. You just pick it up. You just feel it. It's kind of your superpower. And if you're not honoring that superpower, it can turn on you. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself as well. Now let's talk about danger, because a lot of times, and we are definitely living in an increasingly dangerous environment for a lot of people. Some of us are well insulated from that. I think I'm probably one of those people who is well insulated, but it doesn't mean that I don't understand what's happening in the world. I'm not someone who watches the news, but I definitely pay attention to what's going on energetically. And, you can't turn on your computer without hitting headlines. So, there is some of that coming to you, whether you want it or not. But let's talk about danger, because the response to danger is fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And we've been hearing fight or flight for years, but there's the freeze and the fawn really come into play with this. So if we're listening to our bodies, first of all, we are aware. And as women, sorry guys, but as women, we have to be more aware. We have to be more aware of the environment that we're in. We have to be more aware of who's around us and how it feels with people around us, because that's the way our society is right now. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's right. And I think it can easily be changed. but we have to pay attention. We have to pay attention to physical danger. We have to pay attention to emotional, mental, spiritual danger, particularly if we work in the paranormal or in the spiritual. Psychics, healers, paranormal investigators, all of us are making contact with the energy of others, whether they're in a body or not. So we need to be careful about how we are perceiving that incoming energy. And, again, danger, there is physical danger, but very often we are also experiencing like a trauma danger, something that happened in the past, but it's affecting us now in the present. So we need to be more careful about that. We need to be more, not careful, aware. We need to be more aware of what we're feeling and how we're responding to it. And is this a present situation, or is this a trauma response from past situations? I fully believe there is probably not one adult on the planet who doesn't have some level of trauma. We've all been through something, right? We've all been through something. There's help available for some people, for hopefully more than some people, but I know that some people simply don't have access to the health care that they need for mental, emotional, and physical, spiritual trauma. Hi, Raven. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad you're here. So we're just talking about trusting your body's intuition. How do I feel? How do I feel physically? How do I feel in the environment? All of a sudden, the end feel in your body. How does that sense feel, and how do you react to it? So pay attention to, are you fighting something? Are you running from something? Are you frozen? Can't act, can't focus, can't move? Or are you fawning and trying to appease wherever that perceived danger is coming from? I think that, I don't think, I know that happens in a lot of domestic violence situations, where you're trying to appease whoever feels threatening to you. And all of that going on around us. And I'm just checking my energy there. Good morning, Jamie Lynn. Thank you for this message today. I'm taking a stand back from numerous things because of this exactly. I matter. Oh, thank you, Jamie Lynn. She says I look amazing. I am not feeling like I look amazing, but thank you so much. Thank you so much. Jamie Lynn, take care of yourself, girl. You know this. So I'm so glad that you're popping in on this show. I do want to get back to talking about the danger and listening to our intuition, listening to our body's intuition. If something tells you something's wrong, something's wrong. Do what you got to do to take care of that situation, whether that's walking away, confronting it, hopefully getting out of freeze mode, because freeze mode is, that can be pretty detrimental to people. And I know I've been there too, where something happens and I'm just in a situation where I'm either witnessing something, or I'm feeling something, or experiencing something, and I don't know what to do. I just freeze. It's like the brain just shuts off. Raven says, I just got a warm blanket put on me, and I thought it was the perfect time to come and listen to your podcast. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, I love the heated blankets. Isn't that the most wonderful thing? Yeah, self-care. We're getting into self-care today too, but I know that this is mostly a paranormal channel, but you know what? If we're not ready to deal with the paranormal because we're not taking care of ourselves, we're not going to get there, or we're not going to be there long enough to be effective in whatever it is we're trying to do. So self-care is definitely coming into it. Appeasing and placating the source of what you feel is putting you in danger. Sometimes that's life-saving, and sometimes it keeps you stuck in a loop. It keeps you stuck in a pattern that's very difficult to get out of, So it's really about paying attention to what's happening and hoping to listen to your body, because our bodies are incredible sensing machines. Our bodies are very intuitive. Our bodies take in information at an incredible rate. Our eyes alone, I took a seminar years ago, but this one fact really stuck with me. Our eyes alone process upwards of 2 million pieces of information a second. That's just with our eyes. It's not with our ears. It's not with our skin. It's not with listening to our hearts and our lungs. Just that. Just our eyes. So if we really get in tune with our bodies and pay attention to what's going on in our bodies, we can use our body's intuition to create a better, more peaceful, happier life, whatever that is for you. I am hoping that within 6 months, I will be back to my adventuring lifestyle. I may have to alter it some. I've already got people stepping up to be travel partners, so I don't have to travel by myself. I've got people who are reaching out and saying, hey, I know you're going through a lot right now. I love these group chats. It's so much love in the group chats. I know that there are people there who are supporting. And that's another thing, when you're in a situation where you're needing support and people are stepping up, your bodies will tell you too why people are stepping up. Some people are opportunists. I don't like to think that way. But I also know that if we listen to our bodies and somebody keeps reaching out and you're like, you can't even just respond. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you just like, this isn't feeling right. But maybe you're not thinking of it in terms of this isn't feeling right. Your body's just going, I'm too tired. I don't want to respond to that person. I don't want to respond to the situation. There's a lot going on in the world. There is just, people are people. I know that we are shifting into the fifth dimension. Unfortunately, not everybody is shifting. So we are still dealing with 3D attitudes, 3D thought patterns. We're still dealing with, just that exhaustion, just that feeling like some days it's just too hard. Some days it's just too hard. But you know what? That is your body telling you, take a break. Turn your phone off. Unless you know that there is a situation in your life where someone is likely to call you for a really important reason, turn your phone off. Take a break. Read a book. Meditate. Go for a walk. You don't need to always be connected. And I think that being connected sometimes puts our bodies and its ability to sense things into overload. Right. So I know my husband gets mad at me. Sorry, John, I know you're probably listening at work, but he gets mad because I turn off my notifications. I don't hear the phone ring because my ringer's not turned on because my body needs a break. You know what I mean? So it's like I go back, I check the messages, I respond when I go back and check the messages, which is probably still more frequently than what's even healthy for me sometimes. But that's not the point. The point is take a break. The point is give yourself the grace to listen to your body. Listen to what's telling you. If you are not in an empathic situation where you're picking up somebody else's pain, first of all, if you have pain that comes up or something uncomfortable that comes up within your body, ask it. Oh, good point, Al. Very good point. Too much negativity. Surround yourself with positive people. Yeah. I forgot what I was saying here. Take your break, even if it's just turning your phone off for an hour. And sometimes we also need connection. So if you need connection, reach out. If the first person doesn't respond, reach out to someone else. And I also know, or call Kristina and ask her to have a meditation session with you at her earliest convenience. There's that too. Yeah, absolutely. I actually have online office hours now, which is interesting, and I'll get to that later. I really wanted to just get people to start listening to your bodies. I think in the spiritual community, I guess, we're taught to listen to our emotions. We're taught to listen to our intuition. We're taught to listen to our spiritual side. All of that is important. But you're in a body, and that's important too. So while you're in the body, learn to listen to it. Learn to pay attention to what it's telling you. So if you do have something sudden that comes on, first of all, ask yourself or ask the universe or your spirit guides or angels or whoever it is you talk to, is this mine? Is this physical sensation mine, or am I picking it up from someone else? Let your body tell you. Okay. Let your body tell you. And if you don't trust the answer, then say, okay, if this is not mine, I release it and see what happens. You know, if you're still feeling it, then what you can do is go, okay, now I have this going on. Now I have this uncomfortable situation going on, whether it's like a stomach ache, which is also often a very intuitive thing. Like you get this weird feeling in your stomach, but pay attention to it. Ask it, does it belong to you? If it does, do something about it. If you don't know what to do about it, ask your body, what do you need from me? Listen to the answer. Our bodies will communicate with us. It's just that we've been taught to disconnect from our own bodies. Doesn't seem very smart, does it? Very counterintuitive, but we have been taught to disconnect from our own bodies and keep pushing forward, keep pushing forward, keep pushing forward without paying attention to, what am I feeling? What am I feeling? Am I all of a sudden realizing that the same activities that I could do a few months ago are now causing me to be short of breath? Why? Ask your body what's going on. And if your body isn't responding, reach out to a medical professional. You know, I mean, I'm not here to say that the medical profession that we have or the medical establishment that we have, especially in the United States, is perfect. You know, it's expensive. It's sometimes difficult to get to the right provider. There's a lot going on, you know, not even addressing the gaslighting issue. I was gaslighting myself probably more than any doctor was, but there are people who can help. You know, if you know somebody who is willing to share information with you that they have, where you can go, God, have you ever had like this weird thing? Check with people. Maybe it's a very common thing and you just haven't been paying attention to your self-care. Maybe there's something going on that really does need acute attention. Those things happen. You know, if you're having a sudden pain somewhere, find out why. Find out why. Because if you don't, it could lead to more suffering for you. Okay. It really could lead to more suffering for you. And I don't want anyone to suffer. I don't want to suffer. I don't want anyone else to suffer either. That's just being human, you know, and we're moving into that 5D where we're hopefully more available for each other, where we are hopefully more caring towards each other. There's a lot that I understand moving into 5D that sometimes I'm there. Sometimes I'm in this higher vibration. Sometimes life is like, ah, you know, sometimes I'm not, you know, sometimes I jump right back into worrying about things. I jump right back into that whole kind of thing that belongs to in the 3D world. And I think most of us are doing that, going back and forth between 5D and 3D. Jamie Lynn, I had a migraine and couldn't talk for a few days. Communicated that, but because I couldn't be there for someone, I lost a good friend, or I thought was. The universe does work in mysterious ways. It really does, you know. And if you've got people walking away from you because you're taking care of yourself, really, how good of a friend are they? You know, I have been trying to communicate to people, I would love to be there for you, but right now I need to be there for myself. And if people walk away because I felt the need to say that, time to move on. And I hate to say that because it's sad. It's sad. It leaves a hole. It does cause some grieving. But also looking at it maybe from an energetic viewpoint rather than an emotional viewpoint, you know, as you're taking care of yourself and people are falling away, you're just no longer an energy match. Maybe you were coming together like this, but now you're coming together more like this or more like this, paying attention to that. Yeah, we should come to people we love when they are sick or down. But if we're also sick and down and we can't do it, then we have to put ourselves first. I completely agree with what you're saying, Gwen. I do. Sometimes, though, we have to take care of ourselves. It's really important, because if we can't be there for ourselves, how long can we effectively be there for others? That's something that I think that we have been taught to ignore. That's part of that pushing through. That's part of that moving forward, no matter what. Got to do this, got to do this, got to do this, got to keep those bills paid, got to make sure that I keep my lifestyle where it is, got to make sure that everybody around me is happy so that I can be okay. But you're not okay if you're doing that. I mean, I'm not saying don't pay your bills. I'm not saying don't take care of other people when they need you and you're able to do it. What I'm saying is that we need to give each other more grace for where we're at. And if someone falls away because I can't be there for them constantly because I now have to be there for myself, then maybe it was time for that to separate, and maybe they will find other people who can help them more effectively. Maybe we've done all we can do for someone. It's one of many situations, actually, where if we're not taking care of ourselves, we just can't take care of other people. It really comes down to that. We can for a while, but eventually our body's going to say, hey, wait, what about me? What about me? Let's take care of this first so that we can keep taking care of other people. So there is there are a great deal of people who have been struggling and struggling and struggling, and then they finally just have a breakdown. It happens. It happens to a lot of people. In fact, I've been witnessing it happening to a lot of people this year. We've been doing what we can. We've been doing the best that we can. We've been holding stuff together. Oh, Jamie Lynn, I feel that to my core. Self-care is hard when acts of service is your love language. And that is so much my love language, but it is so necessary that I receive my own caring. Self-love. Yeah, definitely. Definitely self-love, 100%. Acts of service is my love language. Anybody who knows me knows that. I know, and I have some very, very dear people in my life where gift giving is their love language. And for some reason, my intuition doesn't work with gift giving. It's like, well, what is this person, what would this person really love to have? And then my brain just goes blank and I go, I don't know. I don't know. But if somebody needs me and I can serve them, that is totally my love language. Acts of service. Yeah. Communication too. I know it's not on the list, whatever. Communication is definitely my love language. Clear communication. It just cuts out misunderstanding. And I feel like as we're going through this 5D ascension where we're raising our vibrations, you can just look around the world, all the weather stuff, all of the separation that's going on with people. Look at how the animals' behavior is changing. Everything is rising. Some people are choosing not to because that's not where they are in their path right now. That's not where they are in their soul development at this moment. And we can still love them, but sometimes we need to love them with some distance in between. I'm saying a lot. Wow. Weird. As I'm moving forward with this conversation, I'm realizing that so much stuff is coming up that I'm trying to cover all of it. And I'm kind of spinning because this is a really big conversation. There's so many different aspects to our body's intuition. We just really need to pay attention to it. We really, really just need to pay attention to it. We need to be able to say to our loved ones, our support network, the people that we support, I love you. I need a break. And hopefully they will support. If they don't, then maybe it was time for that energy to just separate. I don't know about the rest of you. I love you too, Jamie Lynn. Take care. Sometimes it is very difficult to discern when things just need to separate. You know, like maybe we've outgrown this situation. Maybe the other person outgrew us. You know, I've had that happen. I've had other people who have outgrown me because I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't loving myself. I wasn't moving forward with what I needed to do to stay on track. I lost it several times throughout my life, have lost track of where I was going and why I was going there. You know, the why is another big thing too. But sometimes those people just went, okay, time for me to move on. Okay, I send you off with love. And now I'm going to do better for me. I'm going to do better for the body that I live in. Some of us have had long-term stuff. Some of us have just had acute things come up and trying to figure out why. You know, bodies are going haywire all over the place. It's like these machines that we live in. They're giving us feedback. So as we're listening to that feedback, how are we acting on the feedback? You know, there have definitely been times in my life where I have pushed through knowing what I was doing. Sometimes I was pushing my body physically to move out of a situation because it was emotionally damaging. There's so much balance that goes on in figuring this out and listening to our bodies. And if you're in a situation where you're being emotionally, verbally abused, and your body is responding to that, but you're pushing really hard to create a situation where you can move out of that, sometimes we have to give that too. That doesn't mean that we're not listening necessarily to our bodies, but it does mean that we are listening to the other parts of our bodies, to our brains, to our hearts, to our listening to the way I'm being treated is not okay, and I need to create something better for myself. I know a lot of people, myself included, who have been in that situation, moving through, but listening to our bodies the best we can while we're doing it is so, so, so important. There are so many people who want to help us. I do want to address self-love, as Jamie Lynn brought up, because I have heard countless, I don't even know, like I could not count how many people I have heard throughout my adulthood who said, I need to learn to love myself. I kind of think that's backwards. So I'm going to throw a different perspective out there. We come into this world loving ourselves. We come into this world as infants, trusting that the people around us are going to feed us. They're going to love us. They're going to take care of us. They're going to keep us clean and healthy. We come into the world with that expectation intact. Okay? So we start out in complete self-love. What happens, from my perspective, is that some of us go through life holding on to that self-love. We are loved all the way through by other people. We are loved and we are taught to respect ourselves. We're taught to love ourselves. We are taught to share that love and respect with other people. Others of us have come into situations where the people that we trusted to take care of us didn't. Okay. A lot of people in that situation in a lot of different varying degrees in different ways. But through that, we learned other people don't love us. So we bury the love that we have for ourselves, and we just keep accepting other people's stuff on top of it, on top of it, on top of it, right? So I don't know that it's so much learning to love ourselves as unlearning all of the other stuff that we have taken in. I know it probably sounds like it's, you know, what do they call that? Like 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. But I really do feel like all of us came in with self-love. It's still there. We just have to dig it out. We have to get rid of all the stuff that's been buried on top of it. All of the other people's opinions, other people's maybe abuse, learning that other people, the way that they treat us is more about them than it is about us. It's more about them not having enough self-respect to treat other people well. Maybe they've lost their, not maybe. I think if somebody is abusing somebody, the abuser has lost their concept of self-love. There, I mean, this just gets really complicated because we could dig in and go to a million different scenarios. We could dig in and go to all different kinds of places with this. But the bottom line is self-love is our core. It's there. We just have to dig it out. We have to get rid of all those layers of other stuff that was put on top of it. But it's still there, because if it wasn't still there, we wouldn't be fighting for it. We wouldn't be going through everything that we go through to take care of ourselves, to remove those layers. We wouldn't go through all of that effort. And believe me, if you've done the work, you know it's a lot of effort to dig through those layers, to find that core of love that has always been there inside of each of us, because we brought it with us. If it wasn't there, we wouldn't have anything to fight for. We wouldn't have anything to rise above. You know, cancer patients are often told, you can fight this, you can win. But what we resist persists. If you really think about it, you know, if you are looking at it as my body's immune system is now my enemy because it turned on me. I mean, I get that. I've had cancer. I understand that. But what about rising above? How about raising yourself to a frequency where it can no longer survive, where the cells that are attacking can no longer survive? That to me makes more sense. I know that it's a tough process, and I know that lots of theories, lots of, I can't think of the word, conspiracies around cancer treatment, around medical treatment, particularly because we live in a system in the United States that is a for-profit medical system. So there's automatically distrust. I automatically distrust it because of that. But getting through that and going, well, if I fight with it, it's going to get stronger, because both sides in a fight, you know, keep bringing up more energy for the fight. Rise above. And I know that's a hard thing to do, because mentally it's soul crushing to hear those words. I get it. Rise above. And it might take some time. It might take a concerted effort. And I think this goes for any of the medical issues that we have. You know, do your research, find out about what it is that's holding you down and holding you back, but also start gathering your energy to rise above. Meditate. And I know a lot of people tell me they can't meditate. There are different ways to meditate. There are different ways to draw in energy. You know, think of your crown chakra as like a funnel, and just pull in those healing energies from the universe to raise your energy level to rise above whatever is happening. You know, I recently was in a position, and until just a few days ago, actually, where I just kept feeling tired and fatigued and just like, oh my God, why can't I function? So I asked my body, what do you need from me? What do you need from me? And immediately what came to me was a thought. So claircognizance, right? It wasn't a thought that I thought before. The medication isn't working together. There's two different things that are not working together. And even though the pharmacy said that this substance would work with this medication, it wasn't. It wasn't. So I messaged my doctor and I said, I think I need to stop this medication because there is an interaction and it's making me not feel good. Okay, stop your medication. I did that because I don't know enough about the chemistry of medication. So, of course, I reached out to somebody who does. We're all experts in something, but I don't think there's anybody who's an expert in absolutely everything, at least not in human form, right? So if you need to reach out to an expert, reach out to an expert. If you need to listen to your body and say, all right, I need a day on the couch just to rest. You know what? Take the day. Just don't make it a habit unless you're in a position where you have no choice but to make it a habit. Um, some of these things physically are temporary. Some of them are more long-term. But if we can just listen to our bodies, if we can just trust that what our bodies are telling us intuitively, life is easier. Sometimes not a lot easier, but every little bit of ease and grace helps. Give yourself grace. That's another thing. Maybe I can do part of what's of my to-do list today, but maybe I won't get to all of it, and that has to be okay today. Sometimes you're on fire. Whoo, I got the whole list done and added 3 more things and got those done too. I love those days. They're not every day. So to expect ourselves to work at optimum capacity every day for years on end is unrealistic. I think I did that for a long time. Sometimes it's called survival mode, where you're just in survival mode. You just have to do what you got to do to survive, keep a roof over your head, keep the family alive, whatever it is that you got to do. Sometimes we are in survival mode. Shifting out of survival mode is a mindset that is a difficult thing to do sometimes. So if we know somebody who has been in survival mode, and let's just talk about having grace for other people for a moment. If you know someone who's been in survival mode for years and you can see it wearing them down, have a little grace in your judgment. When we judge each other and ourselves harshly, that's not helpful. That's not giving any of us what we need. If we can just have some grace for somebody and just say, I know you are doing the best that you can do. And even if it's not an actual conversation, but it's a thought in your head, I know that you are doing the best that you can do. I'm going to, because I have a little extra energy, I'm going to help you by sending you some energy to help you move closer to out of survival mode, understanding it's a process. Survival mode pretty much fits into the 3D category as opposed to the 5D category. And I've done several shows, talked about that in several shows, and I'll probably keep talking about it because as more people are shifting their energy and waking up and looking around and going, wow, I worked a long time for something that no longer means anything to me. Okay, so how do we move from that? What does your body need? What is your body telling you? You woke up to this realization, but you no longer have the motivation to keep going the way you were going. So what does your body need right now? And usually at that point, that's when people go, I just need to rest. I need a break. Very often we hear it in terms of, I need a vacation. I'd love to take a permanent vacation. And I have been living a lifestyle for the last few years that has allowed me to feel like, even though I'm working all the time, for me, it wasn't work. It was vacation. It was travel and adventure and meeting new people. And I probably know everybody who pops into this list or who listens to it, or not everybody, because I don't know who else is listening to it. But I know a lot of you because I was able to set my life up in a way where I could travel and adventure and meet new people and go to different events and explore new avenues of learning things. Learning all the time is my favorite thing to do. I love to learn, which has been really frustrating for me in the last couple of months because my reading comprehension dropped with the medication change. That's frustrating because I can read something and not even know what I read. Frustrating. Good morning, Deidre. Thanks for popping on. I know you're going to be busy in about a few minutes, but thank you for popping on. There has been so many changes in the world just in the last year or two that have been outrageously phenomenal. So many changes. I think that most of them are good. I don't like to use good and bad because those are judgment words, but they feel good. I have been blessed with opportunities. And partly I was blessed with some of those opportunities because I wasn't listening to my body, but it caught up with me later. Lesson learned. However, I don't regret the experiences that I had. So pay attention to what your body's telling you. Pay attention to, maybe I am holding on to something from the past or a whole bunch of things from the past. Maybe I didn't feel like people were listening to me. So my body created a situation to make people listen to me. Maybe I wasn't listening to myself. So my body created a severe enough situation to make me listen to myself. Trust your body's intuition. It knows what it's doing. But we have to cooperate. Our minds, our emotions, our spirits have to cooperate and listen and say, okay, my body needs care right now. When your body's feeling good, treat it well so it keeps feeling good. So many different changes, so many different environmental changes. I think a lot of us are just learning about how toxic our environment is and how that was created by people not listening to themselves and others. Greed. Ooh, that's a tough one. But that is one of the darknesses that has risen to the top where everybody can now see it, where we were all chasing, not all of us, but a lot of us chasing this dream because we saw other people with things that they have that maybe we thought would be really nice to have, only to realize that we were really not doing ourselves a service. So I'm just saying, listen to your body. Listen to what it wants. Listen to your soul. Go for a walk in the woods, go for a walk by water. Water is incredibly good at bringing clarity, but you have to listen. I just want to thank you all so much for listening to my rant about this. I do think that it's important that, we are a trifecta. We are body, mind, and spirit, but the body gets neglected a lot, and we need to start paying more attention to that. So I know I only have a few minutes left here, so I just wanted to share some changes that are coming up. I'm not going to be doing as many physical events in the coming months. My first one, I believe, is a CapCon in Girard, Missouri. I believe that's in April. Okay, so between now and then, I will still, looking forward to talking to you too soon, Al. I will still be doing a few local psychic fairs and that sort of thing. I'm also doing some more of my own events, like I have a drum making class coming up. I'm going to someone else's establishment and doing readings and a gallery reading. I may be doing more gallery readings. We'll see how that works out. But more local to the Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan kind of area. Also, I will be doing more online. So I've opened up more office hours. I will be getting onto my website as soon as I find those instructions and updating that. But I did update them in my business page, Kristina L. Bloom, Spiritual Advisor on Facebook. I updated my office hours. My office hours are all online. I don't have weekends scheduled for that, but I am open to taking weekend appointments. It's just you'll have to contact me directly rather than going through my website. And that would be online or over the phone, psychic readings, Akashic Records readings, past life regressions. I can do all of those things digitally as well as I can in person. More online classes. I have 2 practice sessions a month set up. So on Monday evenings at 7:30, the first Monday evening Okay, Cape Girardeau. I don't know. Anyway, I was just going kind of what I remembered from my calendar. The first Monday evening of every month at 7:30 Central Time, I will be opening up a Zoom room for mediumship practice. I have a lot of people who are like, well, I don't have anybody to practice with. Okay, I've created a practice. It's low cost, just to help me cover the cost of having Zoom, and so it's $10 on the first Monday night of every month at 7:30. Mediumship practice. I will be in the role of coaching, so I will be able to help people maybe recognize when they're getting messages and that sort of thing. On the third Monday night of every month, again at 7:30. Same low cost, $10. It is a trans channeling practice group. And both of those are set up. You can get the links through my Facebook business page, Kristina L. Bloom, Spiritual Advisor. Those are set up. I have some other classes coming up. Again, go to that website or go to that page until I get my website updated. Anyway, that's where my office hours are, and that's also where those events are listed. So I know that I'm doing a soul retrieval. I know that I'm doing a remote viewing class. I'm doing another one. I don't remember which one I scheduled, but those are all scheduled, and you can get those through the event. Through the events on the Facebook page. Since I am not going to be packing up and loading up and unloading and driving as much, I'm also going to be doing more of the videos, short videos that I'll just be putting out on my different media platforms. So look out for those. That also is coming up. I'm actually starting to get excited about that, which is a little bit weird, but when we have to pivot, we have to pivot. And I will definitely be making a big deal out of it when I'm appearing somewhere in person, because it will be much more rare. I want to thank you all so much for your time, your attention, for listening to this show, and for following, for being in the chat room. I appreciate all of you so much. You have no idea how much I appreciate you. It's all of my love going out to everybody. Not just those who are listening, but sending my love out to the world every day. Let's all do that. Let's send some love out to the whole world, no exceptions, every day, and watch what we can do to make our world better. See you all next time.